So in this tutorial, we're going to construct the plane area for our game using brushes, meshes, and materials. Now, I want to point out that level design normally involves a lot of trial and error in order to line up your actors just how you want them and to get everything correctly placed. So it's normally a very time-consuming process. So in order to save some time, I went ahead and designed this level myself ahead of time and wrote down the coordinates for each of the actors. So this will make things go a lot faster and will ensure that there aren't any discrepancies between your level and my level. Alright, so first, go up here and use this button to toggle grid snapping off. This will allow us to place our actors wherever we want. Now, select the Geometry tab in the Place Actors panel. Add a box brush to the level and rename it Ground 1. In the Transform category, change the location of the brush to 0, 0, -5. In the Brush Settings category, use the X, Y, and Z properties to change the size of the brush to 2800 by 5000 by 10. Alright, so because our ground has a thickness of 10, if we were to put its location on the z-axis at 0, it would actually stick up 5 units in the z direction, meaning the top surface of the brush would be at location 5 along the z-axis. So in order to get the top of our ground flush with 0 on the z-axis, we need to set its z location to -5. So that's why we did that. Now, click on the button in the top left corner of the viewport that currently says Perspective and change that to an orthographic top view. This way, we can see the layout of our level from a bird's eye view. Scroll down on the mouse wheel to zoom out and right-click and drag the mouse to pan the view. Add another box brush to the level and name it Ground 2. Change its size to 2800 by 10,000 by 10. Now, we want to line up Ground 2 with Ground 1 along the x-axis and z-axis. So change Ground 2's x location to 0 and its z location to -5. Now, change the y location to 8700. This will create a 12-meter gap between Ground 1 and Ground 2, which is what we want. Now, let's add a material to our ground objects so that they look more like actual ground. First, go back to Perspective View. Zoom out until you can see the top of both Ground 1 and Ground 2. Now, go up to the Build menu and click Build Lighting Only to build the lighting so that we can see our ground objects correctly. In the Content browser, browse to Content, Starter Content, Materials. Then locate the Ground Grass material. Drag and drop this material onto the top surface of both Ground 1 and Ground 2. Press Ctrl-Shift-S or click File, Save All to save your work. Now we are going to add a player start actor to the level so we can define the location the player should start from when the level begins. Go to the Basic category in the Place Actors panel and drag a player start actor into the level. Set its location to 0, -2300, and 100. Set its rotation to 0, 0, 90. Now, press play on the toolbar to see the perspective from which the player will start the level. They will start at one end of the 50-meter long Ground 1, then there will be a 12-meter gap, followed by 100 meters of Ground 2. Now we will add some walls to enclose our plane area. But this time, we will select the material first so that it will be automatically added to every surface of the actor. So go back to the Materials folder if you're not already there, and select the Brick Cut Stone material. Now, go back to the Geometry category in the Place Actors panel and drag another box brush into the level. Notice that it already has the material applied to all sides. Rename the box Left Wall. Change its size to 100 by 16,200 by 400. Change its location to 1350, 5600, and 200. And now, to make the wall for the other side, we could go through all these steps again. Or we could just make a copy of this wall and save a lot of time. So with the Alt button held down, grab the red arrow of the left wall and drag it towards the other side of the plane area. Name this copy Right Wall. Now all we have to do is change its X location to negative 1350. Okay, so now add another box brush and rename it Bottom Wall. Change its size to 2600 by 100 by 400 and its location to 0, negative 2450, and 200. Now hold down the Alt button and drag the green arrow of the bottom wall to make a copy. Name this actor Top Wall. Change its Y location to 13,650. Alright, so now we have defined the bounds of our level and have a fully enclosed plane area. In the next video, we will add the internal structures of our level.